I absolutely love selling at the booth. And as Scott mentioned too, the numbers are meant to both inspire and also to lend credibility. It's like I'm an expert at my craft because I've been working on it for 7 years. Every single year I make a point of field training and cross training with like at least 2 to 3 people nationally. And any chance I have, I always will go and either observe or work a booth with another top rep in my area or my region. The best investment you can ever make is in yourself. Every year, I spend well over $10,000 to $20,000 on personal development, just getting better at my craft. Whether it's sales stuff within Cutco or just sales stuff in general, or just psychology of sales. It's a really cool, unique opportunity, and every year, I'm excited by the amount of people that I see going out and duplicating results and getting massive growth and massive results from investing in themselves. I just think back 2-3 years ago to knowing Roger Rodriguez and like Curtis believing like that Roger should be a badass sales rep, and then like seeing that come into fruition. It's like for me in the central region, I'm like really excited about cultivating a culture of badasses that are great at selling knives that I see in other regions, and I'm like, that's really cool. Like best friends that kick butt at selling knives, and it's because they've all made a commitment to themselves. So with this live booth role play, it's like the number one thing I always tell anyone that's first getting started with fairs and shows is like, where are you on your scripts? Right, write that down. If you had to rate yourself on like a scale of 1 to 10, right? 1 being like, I didn't know we had scripts, right? To like 10 being like what's that? Which by the way, when I first started, like we didn't have scripts. It was like we had like specials. It was get really good at names and uses, and then like we have like buy 2 get a gadget for free, buy 3 get a knife for free, and then like our sets are discounted like 20% off. Like that was how we like shotgun specials out at our customers, and like that was the program. My first year when I committed to cross training, I went out and cross trained with Curtis for a day. I got his script, and I was like a brand new rep again. I was ignorance on fire. I didn't know what I was doing, but I could read. So I memorized the script, and I just said the script word for word. And you know what happened? People bought Cutco. I was doing county fairs that I never sold more than 2 or 3 grand. I was selling over 10 grand at them, merely because I was selling more sets. The scripts set you up for success. And so like if you rated yourself anything below a 7, like that's something that needs to be revisited. Which by the way, by show of hands, like who here revisits their scripts on a regular basis? Right? So look around the room, guys, on a regular basis, meaning like at least once a campaign, like you are diving back into them. Here's the thing. I don't know if Rick's in the room. Like I mentored Rick Jones last year, and it was like, that's something I hammered at him so hard on. Like you're either a 1 or a 10, right? Like you either are on the scripts or you're not on the scripts. It's super simple. I'm like, if you want to get the best results of your life, memorize the scripts, because the scripts were designed by people that consistently sell over $500,000 in Cutco a year. I love this. Julian Landry tagged me in this post the other day on Facebook, and it was like a quote by me in an interview with Josh. And I was like, if you haven't sold over $500,000 in Cutco in a year, stop taking your own advice, right? Stop taking your own advice. Like, even if you've sold like 100, 200, 300K, even if you're at like over $1 million in career sales, if you've never sold over 500K in a year, stop taking your own crappy advice, right? Find the master, follow the model. That's like, I'm a firm believer in that. So whenever somebody's new on my team, I'm always like, lock yourself in a room and do yourself a favor. Memorize out of the scripts, right? Like, because you could suck at sales, but like the script is set up to sell Cutco at a very, very high level, right? And then after you have that down, like that's the foundation. Like I get like when someone's like, well, like what tips would you have for me? I'm like, get the script memorized. Like when I was watching you, like there's not one thing I can help you with because you don't have the foundation. Like the foundation is where everything starts, and that foundation is the scripts, right? So like find the master, follow the model. Like I have the Vast Action Binder. Like that's my Cutco Bible. Bert Wicks is on my fair and show team, and to Bert I was like, for years he's been on the team for like 3 years. For years I was like, dude, memorize the scripts, and he was dabbling in the fair and show program, and he never memorized them. And then finally last year he memorized the scripts, and all of a sudden he started having really positive experiences at these shows. It was crazy. He was selling like lots of Cutco. I was like, amazing, you memorized the script, and then all of a sudden you sold a lot, right? So that's like the foundation. Second thing with as far as like this goes, it's always continual and constant growth. Continual and constant growth. Like you have to be committed to that, right? Like when I was down, I had the pleasure of going down and like observing the Texoma division, like when they were prepping for their state fair, and like even like I was learning stuff still. I was like, oh wow, like that's a great thing. Like I've talked about gadgets like, oh, do you guys have a good pizza cutter? Instead I go, oh, like you guys probably have like a drawer full of these, right? Imagine you just throw them all out and just have one good set. Doesn't that make sense? And then instead of trying to sell them on like, this one's $53, this one's $47, I'm like, yeah, so like this set normally costs about $300. You actually save 20% off on it when you bundle it with your set today. Right? This set's normally around $300, and you actually save 20% off, so it's only like $216. And honestly, on the payment plans, it's like an extra $40, $50. And then like, imagine that. You can throw away an entire drawer and have one good set. I'm like, by the way, do you have like 4 of these in your drawer? They're like, yeah. I'm like, exactly. The thing is that when it comes to selling at the booth, there's a way that you can do a 15-minute demonstration, or there's a way you can do like a 45-minute demonstration. And how you get good at it is by thinking about things in concepts. Right? This is a set. And all you do is you ask a question. Do you guys have like a drawer full of these at home? You probably have like 3 or 4 peelers, right? Like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, my mom's drawer was chocked full. Like sometimes she couldn't even get the drawer open. I'm like, you ever had that? They're like, yeah. I'm painting this picture. And what that's doing is that's causing pain. And when it causes pain, people will avoid pain at all costs. They do people will not do nearly as much to gain pleasure as they will to avoid pain. So create a pain point. Who here has seen Wolf of Wall Street? Right? Good movie. That was on TV the other day. It's much different edited on TV. There's a lot of like silence. What's the question he asks? He goes, sell me this pen. And what's most people's immediate reaction? Someone says, why Cutco? And you're like, oh, because it's American made, it's guaranteed forever, it's this, this, this. We start telling them all the features and benefits of Cutco. Wrong. Why Cutco? Well, let me ask you, Danny, do you ever get frustrated like sharpening your knives all the time? Have you guys ever had a knife ever rust in your dishwasher, or like you left it in the sink accidentally and it rusted? Got all nasty. Have you ever had like the handle break or a tooth chip? Yeah, it's frustrating, right? Like, yeah, that's why you'd buy Cutco. You create pain with why they'd buy Cutco. Have you ever had the frustration when you go to carve the turkey yet, and it's embarrassing? Like it just shreds it. Like how many people have worked at kiosk, and over Black Friday weekend they come in, they're like, I'm going to get my husband a carving knife for Christmas because he was super mad, right? That's a common thing. You want to associate them with that pain that they feel all the time, right? Oh, by the way, have you ever gone to cut a tomato and it smashes? Super frustrating, right? Imagine what it'd be like if you never had a smashed tomato ever again. Oh, by the way, have you ever gone to dice an onion and it's tear gas, right? Just awful. You're crying by the end and you're weeping. Jesus wept, right? Imagine this. Check this out. Because Cutco is so sharp, when you go to chop an onion, it literally won't make your eyes water nearly as much. Mine don't even water. Just because the knife is so sharp, it cuts straight through. It doesn't release the pollen that makes your eyes water. Wouldn't that be awesome? If you didn't have to wear goggles? Yeah, the problem is they say if you cut an onion underwater, it actually won't make your eyes water. The problem is I just can't hold my breath that long. Which, by the way, if you've ever heard an interview by me, I use bad jokes all the time, right? And I was just recently on Facebook again, Julie Landry tagged me. He's like Seth, what are some of your cheesiest lines? And I use them all the time. And the thing is, if you're not using them, you're missing out. I had a great conversation with Jordan McGee about it. Be authentically you, but use cheesy lines. People love that. Because what that really is showing them is vulnerability. What it's also showing is it's the easiest way to build rapport with somebody. Who do you laugh with? Your friends, right? That's an instant connection. When you get someone to laugh, that's a natural, they're I like this guy. Something I talked with Jordan about was think about different waiters you've had over the years, right? Different waiters. Every once in a while you get that waiter, you're man, I don't know what is about this guy. I like him. And what do? You tip him more. You're an easier customer. because you have, he created a really cool experience for you. That's what our goal is there. Get them to laugh, make them have fun, create a unique experience, right? When you create a unique experience, people have they feel this level of reciprocity, I have to do business with this guy. I like him, I want to do business with him. And bad lines, don't be afraid to use them, and then if they ever don't land, I'm always just oh, did that go over your head? I'm a really sharp guy, sorry. Life on the cutting edge. You can just tell me to cut it out, get to the point. Use them all. By the way, this is really, really sharp, so it's great for getting kids out of bed in the morning, right? I'm just kidding, unless you don't like them. But it's the more you have fun with your customers, the more you're authentically you. It's if you're the type of person that's really stoic, right? And you don't have to use all the best, but use them as much as possible. Find a way to engage your customer and make them feel this affinity for you, right? When people like you, people naturally want to do business with you. It's why is it so easy to go out there and spend $900 on CTS or DPZ stuff? Because I like the guys and I trust them, and I know they're giving me a great product for a good deal, right? And it's super simple. I went in there and I was he's this is the discount, this is that. I'm cool. There's my card. $900. And it's that's the experience. What's really cool too is as you build your business, what's awesome now is I have customers that are buying from me for the 4th, 5th, 6th time. And it's the trust is a moot point. They trust me, and they're I give them a recommendation. They're okay, yeah, here's my credit card. I'm sweet, that was super simple. I showed them the upgrade and they bought it because I've built the trust. So that's the foundation, right? Scripts, have fun, be authentically you. But it's memorize the scripts, right? And then when you learn all these great nuggets, go back to your script and figure out where am I going to put this in there. By show of hands, who here not only has the scripts memorized but actually role plays them? Here's a challenge. Take it a step further. Set up your stuff and actually practice handing him a knife. Practice cutting. Something I took away from Brandon's talk the other night was leather. I want to get really good at cutting leather to create a signature experience where it's holy crap. I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a $95 Wusthof steak knife, so I have that. That creates a level of authenticity. It's who's here has had that person that's has Wusthof, so they look at your crappy, your Crapco knife, and they're well, mine's way better than that. So they naturally have this skepticism. They're disconnected from you. This by the way is a $95 steak knife, right, from Wusthof. And in my area, everyone has Wusthof. If it's Sean, Sabati, whatever, get a high quality knife. Make an investment in your business. And then just make it a unique experience for them. But my challenge to everyone is this: have boilerplate responses. Right? Josh has boilerplate emails. What is your boilerplate response when someone comes up and asks you, hey, what are your specials here at the show? This is something that I worked on a lot with Josh Muller last year when we were coaching together. Was boilerplate responses to, they say they want to think about it. Hey, no problem. Absolutely. Here's a card. Oh, hey, real quick. While I have you here, before you go, and you notice the pause. While I have you here, before you go, what's the biggest thing holding you back from just saying yes right now? Just so I know. Oh, cool. It's just some money. Awesome. And then something I just learned, picked up from Brandon. It's so what you're telling me is if the set was just a little bit less expensive, if it was just a little bit more in your budget, you would probably just go for it? Because you liked Cutco, right? Yeah. Oh, cool. So let me ask you, I'll have to run this by my booth manager to make sure it's kosher that we can do this, but if I could give you a little extra special deal, our friends and family discount, do you think you'd maybe just go for it? If I could give you just a little extra special, and you want to lean in. If I could just give you a little extra special deal, and you kind of pull them in. Hey Zach, if I could just give you a little extra special deal on this set, because I know we spent the time to customize it for you, and it seems like it's a perfect set, and you guys have been wanting Cutco. You're confirming. Like, if I could just like give you a little extra special deal, like our friends and family discount, because we're friends, right? Yeah, I mean, we laughed, right? It's not my signature high kick. I only show that to friends. Okay, so if I could give you like a little extra special deal, you think you'd maybe just go for it? Cool, well, hey, let me do this. You guys talk real quick, because it seems like you guys want to talk about it anyway, so you guys talk about it real quick. I'm just going to go talk to my buddy real quick. And whether it's a booth manager, my booth partner, sometimes it's just creating space. This is like something I love is like there's different grade center business that I field train with that like they all do it a little differently. But like sometimes I'll just be like, oh, well, hey, why don't you guys talk about it real quick? I got to grab something. And I just go underneath the table and I'm like looking for something. Like, oh, where is it? Like, and all I'm doing is letting them like talk about it. I'm creating the space that they need because most people won't talk about their finances in front of you. Like they don't feel comfortable. Like that's why they want to walk around. Sometimes I'll even just say like, oh yeah, like at our home and garden show last year, I had a $5,000 order. There's a gay couple and they were like, oh, we just want to think about it, Seth. We want to talk about it, like any big purchase like this. I'm like, oh, totally. Like, hey, by the way, like there's actually my talk about it section. It's right over there. And they look back and it's like 2 chairs. I'm like, yeah, just like right there. That's the talk about it section. By the way, anyone that goes into the talk about it section and talks about it and then comes back and gives me an answer, they actually get an extra special deal. Yeah. I was like, I know you really liked the bacon serve set. I go, so let me do this. You guys go in there and talk about it, because I want to respect that you guys need, wanted to do that. And if you guys decide to go for it, I'm going to go ahead and throw this in for you for free too. And I put it up on the thing. Sure enough, they go talk about it. They come back and he goes, you guys, these are ours. I go, oh, not those ones. I'm going to ship you new ones. Those are mine. Right? Create a signature, unique experience. Like how many different creative ways can you get people to stay there and stay engaged with you? Because as soon as they walk away from you, there's this big black hole right around the corner. It like sucks up all my customers that say they're going to think about it and come back. It's the worst. Even if you like try to tiptoe around it, just pulls you right in. It's awful. You wouldn't believe how many people have fallen victim to that. And they wanted Cutco too. I actually had a guy, and then I share experience. I actually had a guy, he came to the show specifically looking for Cutco. He just ordered a catalog online, and like wanted to see it in person. And then he got here, and I showed him a great deal. I showed him a discount. And then it's like, oh, cool, like my kids want to go on the ride, so I'll be back. You know what's crazy? He never came back. He came there to buy Cutco, and he didn't buy Cutco from me. He wanted to, right? And it's like you're creating this like, we're friends. I don't want you to do that. You know what happened? He came back the next year, and he spent way more money on Cutco. I'll have customers that'll do that. That'll literally come back a year later, and they're like, it's more expensive? I'm like, yeah, I told you it was going to be more expensive. That's why I was like, buy it, please. Let me save you money, right? So that's creating a signature experience. It's like, it's not just, it's sharing a story with them that helps them paint a picture like, I'm on your side. Help me help you. Show me the money, Jerry, right? But like, your job is to be a buying consultant with your customer, right? To create a signature, unique experience for them, and it's you guys are in this together. My goal is like, I customize this set for you. You guys, you know how unique that is, by the way? By show of hands, like, who here has ever shopped for knives or seen knives in a store? They are under lock and key. They're bolted into the thing. Like, you can't even see what's in the set half the time. They have a picture of it, right? The fact that they get to cut anything or handle the knives is unique, right? That's something unique to Cutco. The fact that we take it a step further and we customize a set for them, that like you can't do that in stores. You gotta buy it all a la carte, and you spend way more money on that. Like, things to take pride in is the fact that like when you do this, make it a big deal to the customer. This is something I learned from Jason Jeffrey when I was like, I used to take customizing it very casually, like, oh yeah, and we customize it here for you, and like da-da-da-da. Like, he's like, you know what I'll do for you? Like, we're not actually supposed to do this, but I'll actually customize the set because I really want to earn your business. And you know what's crazy? Like, I won't even charge you anything extra. You know, normally when you customize, the price goes like way up. And they're like, yeah, because if they have bought something a la carte, right? If you go to a dealership and you start picking and choosing things, I want this upgrade, I want that upgrade, the price goes way up. They don't waive those fees, right? If you want like the biggest, baddest thing, it's expensive. And the fact that like not only that you're going to do that for them, but then you're going to do that for them for no extra charge. Like I sell my set, my homemaker set for $12.12. And I allow you to customize the set. And then I throw in some extra bells and whistles. The reason I start at $12.12 here is like there's so much room to drop down. I can discount the set. I can give you free stuff. I can discount the set and give you free stuff. Right? Everything to, hey, real quick before you go, if I could just do one more thing for you, do you think you'd maybe just get it? Well, hey, here's the reason. Like, I'm really competitive. Whatever your reason is, like, I'm really competitive and like he's beating me for the day. So like I'd rather just get like raked across the coals and just give you a crazy deal than him beat me. Okay? So like take advantage of that. Right? Or here's a great line. Talking about Cutco and from the standpoint of like, it's like us against Cutco, like, hey, yeah, I'm going to show you how to make the set really expensive for free. Seriously, write that down. Do you want me to show you how to make the set really expensive for free? That's something I learned from Curtis at the Iowa State Fair. He was like, it was us against, like, hey, let's like cheat the system. Like, let me show you how to make this $1,400 set a $1,600 set. And like, would you agree, like, you probably don't need 2 forks? Okay, which forks do you think you like more? Cool. Like, you know those scissors that we cut the penny with? That was, like, crazy? Yeah, the ones that come apart, they cut everything in the kitchen, including your hand, if you're not careful. Right? We're going to put those in there. Like, these are $120 shears. This is a $40 fork. And I'm going to do that for no extra charge. Right? Like, would you agree you probably don't butcher, like, pigs and chickens anymore, right? Yeah, most people don't really butcher pigs and chickens. Like, this set was designed back in the 40s. Right? So like we're gonna take that one out. We're gonna put in like the bad boy. That's the one that cuts through like the frozen vegetables, frozen fruit, like a tube of ground beef frozen solid. It's like a $140 knife. Right? We're gonna put that guy in there. And you guys like probably wouldn't use the carving knife that often, right? Probably just for the holidays. Yeah, I mean this usually gets used like 2 or 3 times a year. Right? Cool. So we're gonna take that one out and we're gonna put in the boning knife, the raw meats knife. Now for like all the grilling you said you do, you're gonna have a good raw meats knife for trimming, butterflying, doing all the raw stuff. Cool? So we just made your set a lot more expensive for the same price. And here's the cool thing too, is like all we're gonna charge you today is $234. I mean, let's be honest, like you probably spend more than that on like your cell phone every year, or your cell phone every month, right? On your cable bill. Like my mom and dad, they go to Costco like once a week and they spend like $200, $300, $400. I'm a single guy and I go there every once in a while. And I still spend like $300 or $400 as a single guy. And I'm there like every couple of weeks. I'm like, the thing is we spend this money all the time on like random stuff throughout the month and we don't even think about it. Like it doesn't make sense to get something that you use every single day, like for the rest of your life. Not only that, but like you can pass on to your kids and their kids and their kids. Here's the thing, like this will literally make you into a knife snob. Like you will travel with your Cutco. You will like value this more than one of your children probably. I actually have owners that like tell their kids they will kill them if they touch their Cutco. It's like one of their babies. Like, and this is going to be something that you will it'll literally be a legacy for your family for the rest of your life. You're going to love it. Now I want to go over some scenarios. Like, so we're just I'm going to take a couple from the crowd. I'm going to do some like actual live booth role play. So what's a scenario someone would like to see? Roger. Can
I get a card?
Great. Okay. So I've just done a badass demo for Roger. He should have bought, but he wants to think about it. Hey, Roger, like that's totally fine. I get it. You probably didn't come to the show expecting to even see Cutco, let alone spend $1,000 on knives, right? So that's not a problem. Like, let me get you my card. And hey, real quick too, before you go, let me ask you, like, what do you think is like the biggest thing? If you had to tell me, like one thing, like, what's the biggest thing holding you back from just saying yes? Do you think?
I just need to talk about why.
Cool, cool. So, and by the way, like, do you or does she do more of the cooking? She does most of the cooking. Cool. So, let me ask you, is this one of those things where like just any purchase over blank amount you guys talk about?
Well, no, I just need to make sure that these are the knives she would use.
Yeah, cool. So that's like by the way, Roger, like that's totally fine. I respect that. You're probably a pretty smart husband for saying that. Like I'm sure like my wife would be pissed if I like bought something that she didn't want. Let me ask you though, have you ever like bought something for your wife for, like, as a surprise? Yeah. Did she like it? Yeah, absolutely. And why? Because it was something like you bought for her. So she was really excited about it. Like you thought of her and you bought something that that she would use on a regular basis, right? Well, and here's the cool thing, Roger. Like you have a 30-day money-back guarantee on it. And remember, I'm going to be your Cutco guy. And so what my promise to all my customers is this: like if you decide to go with this set, what we do is we ship it to you for free. And you're going to within about 10 days. You're going to try it for a full month in your kitchen, and she's going to use all the knives. Now, if there's any knives in here that she doesn't use, or she doesn't like, or she doesn't want, you're just going to give me shoot me a text or an email or a call. Like I'll either swing by, or we can just do it right over the phone, and we can like swap it out for something that she would use. And the other thing is, my personal guarantee to you is that like every single one of these pieces is stuff that she's gonna use all the time. And the biggest reason why is because we customized the set. It's like I took out all the stuff that she's not gonna use. Like my mom has this one, she's used it like twice, right? It just sits and collects dust most of the time. And so the cool thing is like this set is like the most popular stuff that people use all the time. In fact, like what's awesome is that we actually took basically the $1,600 set and put it in the $1,200 set for no extra charge. We took all the best pieces out of here and put it in here. And so the thing is like, these are honestly the things that get used the very most. And the best thing about it is like, you're only spending $234. So you're still gonna get to think about it and talk about it for like a full month while you use it. And in the off chance there's something that she doesn't like, or if she just hates Cutco, which by the way has never happened to me ever. Everyone loves Cutco, it's amazing. Like these are like scary sharp, right? It's gonna revolutionize her experience in the kitchen. But if for some reason like she hates it, she's like that 1 in a million, like I'll actually pay to have like a prepaid tag sent out there. You can send it back. They'll give you a full refund, no questions asked. You don't even have to cover, like I'll even cover shipping. Because I'm just like that confident that you're gonna love it. And by the way, the cool thing is too, like I'm gonna actually send you home with this. This is her Cutco cheat sheet. Like I have the CTS Creative names and uses thing. I send that home with any time that they're buying, especially a homemaker or above. It's like they're gonna get home and they're gonna forget what knives are used for, right? How often do you see somebody using a chef knife like way wrong? They're like, you're like, what are you doing? Or they're going like this. They're like, shh, shh, shh. They're like, no, that's not right. So send them home with a cheat sheet. And the thing is, if for any reason at all she doesn't like it, you're gonna be able to send it back. And remember, like you're getting American made, you're getting something that's guaranteed forever. They're literally the last knives she'll ever have to buy. And honestly, even though you're getting it for her, it's actually more for you, because she's never gonna bother you about sharpening her knives ever again, right? And here's the cool thing too, you'll be able to put these in the dishwasher and she won't yell at you, right? Yeah. It's like, I mean, I don't know, like what do you think? Like let me ask you, if I could do like one little extra special thing for you, you think you'd maybe just pull the trigger on it and try it?
Yeah, I want that K-bar.
The K-bar? Oh.
The green one.
The green one? Dude, that's the most expensive one we make.
I know.
Are you crazy? All right, well let me ask you this. Now I know for sure I can't do the K-bar for free, but if I could just get you like a crazy, ridiculous turbocharged deal on it, would you just do it, you think?
Yeah, what you got?
Okay, I'm gonna give this to you for like below my cost, okay? I'm gonna lose money on this, but I just really wanna earn your business and earn your trust. So if you wanna go ahead and get it now, like I'm gonna give it to you for 35% off, right? Which by the way, guys, we make 30%. That is what you make. It's a great way, you have somebody that's trying to bully you on prices, like I can't give it to you below 30% off, like that's my commission. Because customers don't understand how our commission works. We get paid 30%, right? Like weekly. No one here is guaranteed bonus any specific months. You're not guaranteed 50%. It's a great way to, like, someone's trying to bully you, like I make 30%. I can't give you below 30% off, right? That's a great rebuttal to anyone that's like if it's like a guy's trying to beat me up, I'm like, listen, like I want to give you a good deal, but I'm not going to lose money on it. So here's what I'm willing to do. I really want to earn your business and earn your trust. It's a great line, by the way. I really want to earn your business and earn your trust. So here's what I'm willing to do. If it's something like that where he wants it for free, it's a $200 knife, I'm like, I can't do that. But what I will do is I'll give it to you for below my cost. I'm giving it to you for 35% off. We're just going to save you $70. It's going to be only an extra blah. and it'll be this much on the 5-pay. You know what I'm going to do extra special for you too is I'm going to engrave it for you for free. All right? So what do you think? Do we have a deal?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet, sounds good. I put my hand out for the handshake, right? So when it comes to, like with that scenario too, it's like what you're doing there is you're empathizing with him. It's like, listen, I understand, like that happens. But then you're like painting a couple of different pictures. Like I came at it from like, I was like throwing everything at him. I was like the emotional, like think about this. Like it's really, well, you're getting it for her, it's something for you. Guys, like 9 times out of 10, if it's the opposite way, it's a woman saying like she wants to talk to her husband, I'm just like you do all the cooking, right? Like, what do you think, if your husband was here right now, like, what do you think he would say? Like, you're in like a great line, like that I even learned, some new verbiage is like, you know your husband better than anyone else in the world. Like, what do you think, if he was here, what do you think he would say? Most of the time, it's like just empowering them to like, they know the answer. Like, I'm like, very, very, very seldom is it that a woman like can't make the decision on her own. It's that she's a little nervous. She needs a little extra motivation and a little extra reassurance to like she's making a good decision. By show of hands, who here has like bought a really expensive something that's over $1,000 from a really good salesperson before? Like you felt really good about the decision because you were talking to a really good salesperson. It was like you were like, I feel comfortable making this decision. Yes. Who here has like been on the fence because there's been a really bad salesperson? Like even like I went in to buy a big screen TV once. I was ready to spend $1,500 on it. I went into Best Buy and I asked the salesperson, I was like, educate me. Like I don't know, like what's a good bang for my buck? What's really high quality? What's gonna last? He's like, well, this one's really good. This one's really good. I mean, like this one's really good. I mean, it's really up to you. And I was like, all right, see ya. And then I went and I did research on my own and I went into Costco and I had talked to a salesperson there and they're like, oh my gosh, Sharp is the way to go. They're awesome, great bang for your buck, great value, and it has a great warranty. Cool, sign me up, $1,500, right? Because he knew what he was talking about, and he made me feel really good that I was making a smart purchasing decision. So all I did with Roger was reassure him, give him some perspective. Hey, by the way, like, have you ever bought something for your wife before as a surprise? Like every guy has. I'm like, and she loved it, right? Why? Because it was from you. Like, have you ever gotten a gift card? It's like the most thoughtless gift ever. Because you're like, oh, now I gotta go and figure out what I want, right? Even if you hate it, at least you have something tangible. It's like, it's the worst thing in the world. It's like, oh yeah, I got a bunch of gift cards for Christmas. Like, now I had to hold on to this for X amount of months until I go to that store. I'll probably lose it, or I won't spend enough money to use it, and then I won't get my full value out of it. It's like, it makes sense. Like, hey, have you ever like bought like a surprise? Have you ever like done a surprise for her? Like, cool, it'll be a surprise. And if she doesn't like it for some reason, like if she's like that crazy anomaly that like doesn't like it, you just send it back. And then I reassured him that he was making a great decision on what he was getting. Like, here's the thing, like these knives here are just like these are the most commonly bought knives. And we did is and then I added extra value by saying, like, we took all the best stuff from here, from the $1,600 set, we put it in the $1,200 set for no extra charge. So you're getting way more value. You normally have to buy this set, and you're getting all these extra pieces that we like established you're not going to use. And then I circle back and I mentioned the fact that like the only thing, because the things that she's not going to use, we took out. Like, oh yeah. And then give them a little extra incentive. Any questions? Yeah. Questions?
What would you recommend for one of the best ways, or one of the ways that you use to, because like what you said about the commissions thing, that was like gold. But what do you recommend for like increasing value without decreasing CPL? Because sometimes when you do customize, you end up shooting yourself in the foot because you close too hard almost, and then you don't benefit the most from it. Do you have any suggestions for increasing their value without decreasing your CPL?
Great question. So for one, what I've started doing a lot is closing hard on a homemaker uncustomized. And there's two pieces you have to sell really hard in a traditional set. It's a spatula spreader and a butcher knife. Because those are two pieces that don't make sense to them. Right? They're like, yeah, what is that? Like, I would never use that. I'm like, yeah, oh my gosh, this is actually most guys' favorite knife. especially when there's a woman there, because even if she doesn't connect with it, she's like, oh, cool, my husband will like it. And especially if a guy's there, I'm like, this will be your favorite. You know why? More guys come up and tell me this is their favorite knife. Like, this thing's the best thing Cutco's ever invented. I have like 2 of them. I use it like 4 times a day. I'm like whipping up my sandwiches. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, isn't it awesome? Like, yeah, this is the sandwich making machine. They're like, oh, I don't do sandwiches. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you do avocados? Like, no, okay, oh, do you ever do this? You just keep bringing up stuff, and then I'm like, if they are like totally not gonna use them, like, sounds like we should probably take this out of your set, right? But it's like, and like, they're like, yeah, I do avocados. I was like, oh my gosh, check this out. Okay, so with an avocado, you go around the pit, try to break it apart. Now you take the sharp part here, you turn it sideways. Don't go this way. If you do that, it could glance off, hit your hand, right? I'm like making it fun and interactive. Go this way. Knock out the pit. Take the back side. Now it's not sharp, but it's really, really thin. You slice across. You slice across, and you squeeze it out. It's awesome. Like you have guacamole in like 30 seconds. Or if you're doing a sandwich, you can scoop it out and spread it on there. And then you can cut the sandwich in half. You only have to clean 1 knife. It's awesome. Just don't lick it. Now, you sell hard on the spatula spreader, because like, this is how I explain my homemaker set. So it's like, so you get a paring knife, you're gonna use that all the time. The trimmer, that's like the best knife Cutco's ever made. You're gonna use that all the time. This is like, if you were to ask 9 out of 10 customers, would say that's their favorite knife. Spatula spreader, this guy is fantastic. This is like the sandwich making machine. This is most guys' favorite knife. And the only knife I've spent any time on at this point is this one. I'm like, it's super, super flexible, but it's super, super sharp. In fact, it also is instrumental, because it'll play a B sharp when you clang it, and I'll clang it on my cutting board. I'm like, because it'll B sharp forever. They're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, don't worry, the bad jokes are free, right? And then I'm like, oh, by the way, too, if you check it out, if like you need to like touch up your mirror, like it's a mirror too. It's awesome. You throw it back in there. By the way, when a joke doesn't land, I'm like, by the way, like, you can just tell me to cut it out if you want. Get to the point, right? You can always go back and make it even cheesier, right? Then you have a small carving set. That's like your chicken steaks, you know, the small stuff. You have a good vegetable chopping knife. It's like your onions, carrots, celery, cilantro, basil, garlic. Good bread knife. That's going to be really useful. The butcher knife. Now this guy here, this is like your tough guy in the kitchen. This is like your melons, watermelons, cantaloupe, pineapple, squash. Same thing as like same uses as a hardy slicer, but it's like you're selling them hard on this piece. A butcher knife makes sense to have. Even if they only used it 3 times a year for the next 40 years, it's like the cost is like $1 per use. It's stupid for them not to have one. The thing is that a customer, if they don't use it 3 times a day, they feel like they never use it. By show of hands, who here has had a customer that's like, oh yeah, I never use that one. And you like go to sharpen, and you're like, this thing is duller than, right? Yeah, it's like customers lie, not intentionally, but they do. Like, because they're just out of touch with it. They think if like they're like, oh, this is the only one I use. I'm like, oh, like what do you use if you like are cutting up a roast? Oh, well, I gotta use that one. I'm like, cool. So you don't just use the trimmer, right? I'm like, if like this is the only one they use, they just have a set of trimmers, right? They use all the knives in the set. They just think if they like most of the time they think if they don't use it 4 times a day, like they don't use it that much, right? And so it's hard for them to remember that they only use it a couple times a year. I'm like, even if you only use this in the summers, which is really when you're gonna use it the most, when you're doing like the melons, watermelons, cantaloupe, pineapple, squash. By the way, have you ever had like a tube of ground beef, like that's still frozen, and you like forgot to thaw it out? I'm like, yeah, I do that all the time, right? So like, this is what's awesome. Like you can just smack down and just like press straight through. You're gonna love it. It's fantastic, right? Plus it has this really sharp point. So if you have like frozen hot dogs or like ground beef or hamburger patties, like you just pop it apart. By the way, have you ever like broken the tips off your knives? Which like most people have, and like using it for like something crazy. I'm like, this is the one to use. This is like the scapegoat in the set. Takes all the abuse for the other knives, right? Then you have your large carving set. That's like your turkeys, hams, roast, briskets, especially around the holidays. It's really nice to have the deluxe carving set. So that's like your basic set of knives. Plus you get 8 of our steak butter knives. These are the ones that we cut the leather with. These are fantastic. My mom uses these for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My sister-in-law too. Like they both have 8 of these, and it's just them. Like they don't have any kids in the house anymore, and they still run out of them, right? So like I just planted the seed for 8's not enough. And that's your basic set. So that's the best thing. It's like sell hard on this, because the thing is it's super easy. They're unsure about something. Then it's cool like, hey, let me show you how we can make your set even more expensive. Let me show you how we can solve that nagging issue in the back of your mind, which is like, well, I don't think I'd use all those pieces, right? And then the set's discounted as a set. So you make way more money on it when you're not paying $180 for shipping when you piece it out. So it's much better to sell it as a set. Plus, how much easier is it to sell a cheese knife than a spatula spreader on a service call later, right? It's super simple. Don't use these ones until you have to. These are like closing knives, because these are the super BA ones. These are the ones that are easy to sell. Sell hard on the basic stuff that everyone should have, because then it makes an upgrade down like 2, 3, 4 years down the road. Like have a Cutco, like it's so much simpler to sell a Signature Ultimate upgrade when they don't have any of the pieces in it. Like the reason it's so easy to sell to people that bought from a college student is because they have all the basic pieces. So what are we selling? We're selling them all the sexy ones, right? So it's like save the sexy ones until you need them. So that's the other thing is like what Brandon was talking about was take a step back, be deliberate, take a moment and pause. So what you're saying, if I'm hearing you right, is that like if this set was a little bit less expensive, or if I could get you like a crazy deal on the K-bar, that you just go ahead and get it? Cool. Let me check with my booth manager, make sure he's cool with it. If he is, you got yourself a deal. All right? Hey, Bert, I'm going to give this guy a sick deal. Is that cool? Awesome. Thanks, man. All right, he said, let's go for it. Right? And you shake their hand. So it's like whatever, the biggest thing is don't use all your ammo. Like the thing is we shotgun out stuff. Like they give you an injection, like, oh, I handled it. It's like take a step back, ask them some questions, get confirmation, tie them down. So what you're saying is if I could do that, then you would do it. So hey, like if I could, something I learned from a cookware salesperson is like it's never like, hey, if you do this, I'll throw these in for free. It's well, let me ask you, like if I could get you the $120 super shoes for free, like would you do the set right now? You would? Okay. Let me make sure that that's cool with my booth manager or my booth partner. If he says it's cool, like you get yourself a deal. Go over there, tell him he looks good, and then come back and be like, he said we could do it. High five. Right? It's like we know what we can do. But sometimes it's like the simple act when you were brand new, like calling your manager to be like, hey, like I'm with this customer. This is the deal. Can I do it? Oh, I can? Oh, awesome. Like I remember one time when I was brand new, like I couldn't get a hold of the PDI line. It was like busy, busy, busy. I just faked a conversation with the manager. I was like, because I knew I could do it. Oh, really? You would allow me to do that? Okay, cool, I'll let him know. Right? It's like use people in the booth. I think there's a lot of times there's like ego wrapped up in like, oh, like I'm a Hall of Fame rep, or I'm a Court of Honor rep, or I'm this, or I'm that. I don't need to ask anyone for permission. Who cares? Use every tool in your arsenal. Hey, let me see if like my booth partner is cool with this. Hey, by the way, like friends, like using a friends and family discount, like that makes sense that there is that because like other companies like AT&T, like your cell phone companies, like they have a friends and family discount, an employee discount. Like I'm gonna give you my employee discount on this one. I'm gonna hook you up. I'm gonna give you 30% off on that set if you want to add it on to that. By the way, guys, customers need much less incentive than you think. In our minds, like I was guilty of it at least. Like I felt like if I wasn't like discounting this down as low as I could, like the customer's gonna hate me. They're not gonna buy from me in the future. You know what I found last year when I sold for full price the entire year with extra bells and whistles and stuff? Like they bought just as much because 95% of people buy on value, not on price. So sell on value, and if they identify themselves as a price person, then use that to your advantage and drop down the price. Most people would rather get extra free stuff and know, like honestly, most people would rather just even be dealing with a professional. I remember, especially wealthy people, they don't give a crap what the price is if the value exceeds the price, right? It's like when I was out there, when I was looking at the thing, he showed me the price. It was like $1,100 for the thing. So I was like, cool, okay. He's like, oh, that's like the normal price. Here's your discount. I'm like, oh, sweet, it's less expensive than I thought, right? Because ultimately, like I didn't really care what the price was because I was getting all the products that I wanted. Keep the prices the same, by the way, though. Don't raise them. Another scenario. Or you have a quick question? Yeah. So Colin and then Frank.
All right, so let's say that I'm in a city.
Yeah.
You're gonna farm a flatline as a nutshell.
Cool. Cool. So if I've done a great job of presenting the bundle, and they're still gonna think about it, then usually what I'll do is I'll do one last thing. Be like, yeah, no problem. Like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna be your Cutco guy. So if they say no to something, I wanna make them feel really good about what they are getting. I don't wanna feel like, oh, you're just gonna get that. But I'll be like, cool, hey, not a problem. I wanna be your Cutco guy, so I'm gonna make sure to make a note on your account that you're interested in the flatware. Just so I know though, on a scale of 1 to 10, how serious of need are you in for new flatware? And so if it's a 7 or a 6 or 7 or above, I'm like, okay, well, let me ask you, I'm really competitive, or we have this really big contest, or my team is going for a really big goal. So if I just give you an extra special deal on it and discount it even more, you think you'd maybe go for it? And a better thing than even discounting it is throwing in extra free stuff that they want. So a big thing is, guys, pay attention when you're going throughout the demo, things that they pay attention to. So in Minnesota, where I'm from, pretty much everyone hunts and fishes. If it's a husband and wife there together, the husband fishes and it hunts. And so that's usually a question I'll even ask, as I'm going into close, oh, by the way, do you hunt or fish? Right before I close, by the way, do you hunt or fish? Yeah, and I purposely hijack I take the pressure away from closing, I go over and I show them that. And then I'm yeah, they're really awesome, and then they'll usually ask the price, yeah, that one's well, the two of them are about $190, they're each about $100 a piece. And I'm yeah, so back to the set, and then I get back into the set, and then I'm hey, by the way, if you decided you want to do the set today, I might be able to get you one of those for free. So what do you mean? I'm which one did you really like the most? I like the fillet knife. Cool. So let me ask you, seems like you're really serious about the set and you really want it, right? And you would use it, right? Cool, okay. So just to put the cherry on top, I really want to earn your business and earn your trust. So if you want to go ahead, just pull the trigger right now. I'm going to buy and throw that in for free too. What do you think? Do we have a deal? And it's what do you think? Do we have a deal? And it's and just put your hand out and expect, and they're I'm come on, that's a crazy deal. You're getting the discount, the upgrades, and a $100 fillet knife I'm paying for. It doesn't get better than that. Let's do it. It's just, and have fun with it. Let's do it. And you're reaching out, and they're okay. And usually, they'll look at each other and yeah, let's do it. I'm you guys said you're going to use it, and you can budget it. It just makes sense. So if they're not going to say, so now they're buying a signature set, they're all set with that, they're really interested in that. I knew that they were really interested in a fillet knife and that. I'm going to go, I know you guys really like the flatware and you said you really need it. So let me ask you, if I could get you a crazy, ridiculous discount on the set, plus give you some extra bells and whistles, do you think you'd maybe go for it? Maybe, possibly. They're I don't know, what's the discount? I'm well, check this out. The set normally retails for about $2,100, and you're getting the 12 piece place or 12 5-piece place settings. You're getting the flatware chest, which I'm buying and throwing in, and you're getting the free shipping, right? You're gonna get to try it out for a full month to make sure you love it. And if you don't like it for any reason, remember you can just send it back and get a refund on it. But I mean, if you can budget the extra $350 today, what I'm gonna do to reward you is I'm going to actually buy and throw this $100 fillet knife in for free. Again, not firing all your ammo. I know that he likes the hunting knife too. I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to use something I learned from Jason, which is emotionally stacking deals. Because normally with that, they'll be if they're a 7 or above with interest, and they're getting the discount, and then they're and he's going to give you this, which is another thing I really want. When it comes to guys, they love, for the most part, guys buy on value, women buy on emotion. Guys that's an awesome deal, let's do it. I really want to get, I really want that fillet knife. That's what they're thinking, I really want that fillet knife, so I'm going to buy her that. I don't even care. Like I've literally had customers be like, he's like, I don't care if she's getting that. Like I'm getting my fillet knife. I'm like, exactly. And that's like, we're all winners. Like she gets this, you get that. And I'm like, hey, you know what? And it's like, and if you're still teetering on the fence, I'm like, okay, like I hope I don't get fired for this, but I really, really, really want you to get it because I know it's like a screaming deal and it's really gonna help us out. Plus I'm gonna beat my buddy, so I'm really competitive. Yeah, so like, I'm also gonna buy and throw in the $113 hunting knife for free too. So you're getting an extra $200 worth of product on top of a $700 discount on top of the customized set. And I'm gonna be your Cutco guy, so I'm gonna help you service this for life. You're gonna get it within 2 weeks, you're gonna try it out for a full month, make sure you love it. If you don't love it for any reason, you just send it back and get a full refund. What do you think? And then usually, I will purposely angle my body away, which somewhat disengages them so they can look at each other. If I'm here, I'm engaged with them, and I'll purposely angle my body away. I'm like, what do you think? And sometimes I'll even look down and be like, looking for something, again, trying to create space for them. And if I can tell they actually want to think, they actually want to talk about it, then I'll really give them space. And I'll always be trying to look at them out of the corner of my eye for like positive. I'm like, oh, what do you guys think? And then go from there. They say yes, they say no, they say maybe. If they say no, again, I'm like, hey, not a problem. Like, I really want you guys to make the right decision for you. So when you guys are ready, like I'll be the one that helps you out. By the way, like I'll also make sure to make a note in your account. So like that way, when next time when it goes on sale, like I can let you know. They're like, oh, perfect. Like by the way, most people save something like this to buy from me next year at the show because they love coming to me every year. So now I'm just planting the seeds like, oh, by the way, you'll just buy this from me next year, right? Oh, by the way, it's actually great that you're not buying it this year because now you have something to look forward to buy from me next year. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna come next year and buy it. And I literally have customers that'll come up and they'll just be like, yeah, we looked at the flower last year, we're ready. I'm like, sweet. Here's an order form. Did that answer your question, Colin? Cool. Frank?
Yeah, man, I can really see the value out of your knives. Definitely do need some, but I just don't buy on impulse. I need to research it.
Cool. Yeah, no, like absolutely. Like I get that too. I'm sure you probably weren't even thinking about buying Cutco, right? Let alone like, or thinking about even seeing Cutco at the show, let alone buying it, right? Absolutely. Like if I was in your situation, I'm sure I'd feel the same way. Like I know it's a big investment. Let me ask you, like, I mean, what was one of the top 2 things you liked most about Cutco? From what I showed you. Yeah, right. American made. Like that's, by the way, like we're the only company that's American made. We're the last high quality American made knives. But what else? I mean, like, what else did you like about the knives? Yeah, I mean, honestly, you remember those testimonials, right? A customer that's had them for like 60 years. Like, honestly, that's why people buy Cutco. It's like people like that are super valuable to me as a salesperson because it's like I could talk till I'm blue in the face, but seeing someone that's owned it for 60 years, I mean, that's pretty powerful, right? And imagine that in 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you stop by a booth like this and you tell somebody like, oh yeah, I bought Cutco back in the day from this guy, and I'm still using them every single day, right? So let me ask you. I mean, you know, I guess with what how I've educated you today at the booth with what's out there and stuff. Like, are you just not sure if Cutco's the right brand, or is this just more money than you want to spend?
Well, now I've never even heard of Cutco, right? So now I'm just curious of what else is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, remember History Channel, sharpest knives in the world by the History. We've been ranked by the History Channel as the world's sharpest knives, right? The biggest thing too, though, is like our customer testimonials. Like, remember, like, did I show you that sheet? Like, check this out. Like, this is actually like somebody that's owned it for like 60 years. Like, these are just in the last day. There's people that stop by our booth and they're just raving fans of us, right? So like, here's the thing. Most people haven't heard of Cutco because we're like America's best kept secret because we don't sell in stores and we don't advertise at all. We only sell through personal sales, through personal word of mouth recommendations. Here's the cool thing though, we're actually the #1 knives in the US. Like 1 in 4 households like in the United States owns Cutco. It's like over 17 million people. So the biggest thing is like most of the time when somebody hasn't heard of Cutco, it's basically because they don't have any kids that have gone through college yet, right? Because like that's how everyone buys it. Like 90% of the people are like, oh yeah, college kid, my niece or my nephew, my son or daughter, sold it in college. And so like honestly, like if you want to do more research and stuff, that's totally fine. But I can promise you, like all you're gonna find out there is the exact same experience you were telling me you've had at home, which is there's lots of really, really high quality knives. I mean, you could buy Wusthof, Shun, Sabatier, Global. It's like there's a lot of really great stuff out there. The biggest reason people buy Cutco is because like with any one of those knives, you're always gonna have to replace them. And like the biggest thing, the reason my dad bought my mom Cutco is that like he just hated sharpening your knives all the time. And the thing is like every other knife out there, you're gonna have to sharpen. Cutco's the only ones that when they go dull, we sharpen them for free, and they stay sharp longer than any of their knives. I mean, that's why the History Channel came out to our factory and did a special on our company as the world's sharpest. It's not just because we're sharp when you get them. I mean, we're gonna be sharp for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's not uncommon for me to talk to somebody that's had them for over 15 years and never had them sharpened. Cool thing is, like, by working with me, you're gonna have somebody that's gonna actually take care of you. You're not gonna be going that long before you get them sharpened. Like, I keep my knives, my customers' knives in tip-top shape because every couple of years, like, I'm contacting them and letting them know, like, hey, it's time to get it serviced. Most of the time, when I tell people that, a lot of times they don't even think they're dull, right? So, like, I mean, let me ask you, like, if you were to get a set today, like, did you like the idea of like the homemaker set or the family set? Yeah, the homemaker set. I mean, honestly, this has been our #1 selling set for the last 60 years for a reason. I mean, it's the set that everyone needs. These other ones are great sets, but like the sets that everyone wants that are not necessarily that practical. I mean, this is your practical meat and potato knives used every single day. And like, if you like looking at this set too, are there any pieces in here you think you wouldn't use? Yeah, you're not a gourmet chef, right? Yeah, like I'm the same way. Like I don't cook that often, but I eat every day. That's why I have this set, right? Every day, like the food's too big for my mouth, so it makes it small enough. Yeah, it's great, and they work. The other thing I like about Cutco too, we're the only knives in the industry that are dishwasher safe. Have you ever had that frustration where like your wife yells at you or like they rust in the dishwasher, right? Yeah, it's super annoying because it's like at the end of the day, the last thing I want to do is sit there and wash all my knives by hand. I want to throw it in the dishwasher and go to bed, right? So let me ask you, I mean, what is it about Cutco that makes you want to research other companies? Is there something that you're unsure of? You're just used to doing, yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we're used to doing research, right? The great thing is like I've actually done that all for you, and I educated you on the knife industry. I mean, before you stopped here, like you didn't know anything about knives, right? And now you know about high quality knives and low quality knives. You know how a serrated edge works and a Cutco edge works. Like, yeah, I've actually been doing this for 7 years. I've helped over 5,000 customers buy Cutco. I've sold over $1.8 million worth of Cutco, and I don't say that to brag. Like, I'm just saying that to like let you know, like, I'm an expert at this. I've been doing this a really long time. And the cool thing is like, I'm gonna help you get the perfect set for you, so that way your kitchen needs are taken care of. And my goal is not just to sell you this set of knives today, but to help you with anything in the future, whether it's sharpening service or getting more Cutco because you're addicted. And seriously, Cutco does become an addiction, right? Once you get some, it's like the best knives ever. We've been making people into knife snobs since 1949. So, I mean, if you were to do the set, do you like the idea of splitting it up or doing it all at once? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And here's the cool thing. Whether you pay for it all at once or whether you split it up, either way, you have 30 days to send it back for full refund. And the thing is, like, I'm so confident you're going to love it because everyone does, that if for any reason at all you decide you don't want it, like, I'll literally pay to send you a prepaid tag that you can send it back, and I'll even cover the shipping back to the factory. It's literally risk-free. So, like, I mean, what do you have to lose? Sounds good. Congratulations, you're gonna love your Cutco. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning a lot. As far as, because you have the guarantee sheet right in front of you, right?
Yep.
Have you ever had the problem where it says 15 days and you're telling me 30?
So it's actually 15 business days. So 15 business days really translates to about 30 days. And the thing is that I personally have had the experience where customers, I've had a lady who returned something 3 months into her. Yeah. So the big thing is too is like, yeah, exactly. And so like, and what I'll do, if somebody like will point that out, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's actually 15 business days. And so a big thing for me too is like, this is not exactly how I set it up too. Like I don't have this thing out because if I have something with a bunch of writing, what do they try to do? If it's like they'll try to read it. And it's like, what's the point of, like, I'm gonna tell them about the guarantee in 15 seconds or I can sit here for 3 minutes while they read this whole thing, right? So the only thing I really talk about is like, oh yeah, it's actually not serrated. There's actually 3 razor sharp edges that are in between the teeth. So it kind of cuts like a sawtooth. The teeth protect the edges from going dull, and it stays sharp on average like 7 to 12 years. The great thing is that unlike a normal serrated edge, it actually can be resharpened when it goes dull. I mean, that's something that we do for free. Yeah, it's very, very uncommon. And the thing is that if they do, it's like just being transparent, like, oh yeah, it's actually 15 business days. So that really translates to about 30 full days, right?
That's going to wrap it up for the time for Seth. At the booth.